Hi guys, welcome to day 2 of your reading video, and this is for lesson 23. We are going to start off with our white arrow, which says, I can tell the beginning, middle, and ending sounds in short words. So I'm going to give you guys a word today, and we are going to work on our middle sound. Okay, so think about my word, and when I slide my finger under it, tell me what the word is. Middle sound says, and is that a short sound or a long sound for that vowel? Okay, and then we are going to change our middle sound to our sound for this week, which is So think about that new word with that middle sound being and when I slide my finger under, tell me what the new word is. Perfect. Okay, think about this word, and when I slide my finger under, tell me the word. Middle sound saying, and is that a short sound or a long sound? Okay, and then we're going to change that middle sound to the sound for this week. So my new word is. Okay, next word, think about it. My middle sound says, and is that a short vowel sound or a long vowel sound? Okay, and then change that middle sound to saying the sound. So my new word will be. Okay, next word, think about it. Middle sound. And is that a short sound or a long sound? And then change that middle sound to saying the sound. So my new word will be. Okay, next one, think about it. My word is. My middle sound says, and is that a short vowel sound or a long vowel sound? Okay, and then change that middle sound to saying the sound. So my new word will be. Okay, next word, think about it. Word is. Middle sound says, and change that to the sound, and then my new word will be. Okay, and then our last word for this. Think about this word. My middle sound is, and then change that to the sound, and my word will be. Okay, next up, we're going to move on to our purple arrow, and our purple arrow says, I can tell how words are used in real life. Your real life words this week are accent, behave, gooey, siesta, sizzling, and translate. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about a couple of these words. So the first one, I am learning Spanish in school, I said, but my accent is bad. Do you or someone you know speaks with an accent? And what kind of accent is it? So do you or do you know someone who speaks with an accent? And what kind of accent is it? Okay, so the little girl in our story, she said her accent was bad and she was trying to speak in a Spanish accent. So think about that word accent, and do you or someone you know speak with an accent, and what kind of accent is it? So pause the video for a moment and talk with someone about that question with the word accent. Okay, and then our next one, Mom and Jamie got gooey crepes from a French vendor. What kind of food is gooey when you touch it? So in our story, they had gooey crepes. Okay, what is another type of food that is gooey when you touch it or gooey when you eat it? So also pause the video and talk about that word gooey. Okay, so these two words, accent and gooey. Do you know someone? Do you have an accent, or do you know someone with an accent? And what kind of accent is it? And then the word gooey. What is a type of food that is gooey when you touch it or when you eat it? Okay, and then when you're done talking about these two words, I want you to pick one of these words from our words this week. Grab yourself a piece of scratch paper and write one of these words in a 1-star, 2-star, or 3-star sentence. Okay, remember, 1-star is just who is in your story and what they are doing. Okay, a 2-star sentence is who's in your story, what they are doing, and where they are doing it. And then a 3-star sentence is who is in your story, what they are doing, where they are, and then an adjective to describe one of those words in your sentence. Okay, an adjective can be a shape, a color, or a size. Okay, so once again, Grab yourself a piece of paper after you've talked about these two words and pick a word and use it in a sentence. And if you want, you can snap a picture and send your picture to Miss Coggins or I because we would love to see your sentence. Okay, next up, we're going to move to our gray arrow. Our gray arrow says, I can read first grade words that aren't spelt the way they sound. And your first grade words for this week are father, together, began, house. One more time. Father, together, began, house. Your turn. Think about it. Say it. Spell it. And say it again. Next one. Think about it. Spell it. And say it again. Okay, next one. Think about it. Spell it. And say it again. Okay, and our last one. Think about it. Spell it. And say it one more time. Okay, on this page, I'm going to slide my finger under it. I just want you to read the words for me, okay? And again, if you have problems with any of these, because these are those sight words for this week that you need to be able to know in your head, and you need to be able to read them that quick. So if you have problems with any of these, pause it, go back and try it again. Here we go. Perfect. Okay, next we're going to move on to that red arrow. That red arrow says, I can put sounds together to speak words. And your sound this week that we're practicing is that O-O saying like if you were to get punched in the stomach, the sound. Okay, and that O-O can only pop up in the middle of a word. You will only find O-O saying in the middle of a word, like in cook. Okay, we're going to go through some of our sounds, our sound for this week, and then some of those bossy R sounds from the other weeks. Okay, first one, card, cook, sound, spelling, O-O. Your turn. Card, sound, spelling. Card, orange, sound, or, spelling, O-R. Card, sound, or, spelling, O-R-E. Your turn. Card, sound, spelling, sound, spelling. Okay, card, artist, sound R, spelling A-R, card, sound, spelling. And our last one, card, bird, sound spelling I-R, sound spelling E-R, sound spelling U-R. Your turn. Card, sound, spelling, sound, spelling, sound, spelling. Perfect. Okay, now I'm going to show you some sounds on our sound drill. Okay, I'm going to go through the sound first in each row, and then you are going to do it on your own. Or, your turn. Next row, R, or, your turn. Next row, or, your turn. And our last row, or, R, O, your turn. Perfect. Okay, next one, we're going to practice this black arrow. I can read aloud like a teacher, and we are going to do our sound by sound. Okay, some of these words have 2 syllables in it. So I am going to write the first syllable. You're going to think about it, and then I'll add the second syllable, and then we'll put it together. Okay, so remember when you're seeing these words on a paper by yourself, use your finger to block those 2 syllables. Okay, so the first one has 2 syllables in it. Here's your first syllable, think about it. And your second syllable The second syllable says, and then put it together. One more time. Okay. Next word, the first syllable says, okay, second syllable says, and then put it together. And one more time. Okay, next one is going to have our O-O sound in it for this week. So sound, two O's together, say, put it together. And our last sound says, and put it together. And my word is sound, sound, put it together, and sound, and put it together. And the word is, next one's going to have two syllables. So the first syllable says, second syllable says, put it together. One more time. Okay, next one, two syllables. So the first one says, second syllable says, put it together. One more time. Okay. Next one again has two syllables. So the first syllable says, and remember each syllable part has a vowel in it. So your first part of your syllable says, second part of your syllable says, put it together. One more time. Okay, and then our last one, sound, sound, put it together, sound, put it together. And if I throw an S on the end, that turns it into, okay, if some of these words caused you problems, pause the video to practice some of those words before we move on to our next page where you'll see these words along with a few more. Okay, on this page, I want you to think about it. And remember, when we have a word with two syllables like your first one, if you have to, take your finger, lock that first part, sound it, block your first part, look at your second part, sound it, and then put it together, okay? So think about it. Next one, think about it. Same word. Okay, if any of those caused you problems, pause the video, go back, practice them again, because remember, you do want to be reading out loud like a teacher. Okay, next up, we are going to read our story for today. So our story for today is Two Good Cooks. Remember, you can read this with me right now, or you can go find this book in Think Central, but you want to be reading it 3 times, okay? Once in your head, once with your finger, and then out loud like a teacher. Here we go. Two Good Cooks. Mom is on her way home. Mom will be late. My father and I will cook. We began with a good plan. Practice that page in your head. And pause it if you need more time, please. Follow with my finger. Okay, and then read that out loud like a teacher one more time for me. We look at the shelf. We see eggs and ham and cheese and milk. Those will be good to cook with. Practice that page in your head for me. Follow along with my finger. And then read that out loud one more time like a teacher. Okay. We take out eggs, ham, cheese, and milk. Then we get bowls and forks and pans. We can't cook yet. Practice that page in your head. Follow along with my finger. Sorry. And then practice that page in your head for me. Or read it out loud like a teacher, I mean. Dad hands me Mom's cookbook. It will tell us how to cook. We look at the pages that show us how to cook eggs. This is it. Okay, practice that page in your head for me. Follow along with my finger. And then read that page out loud one more time like a teacher, please. Okay, next page. This cookbook tells us to get eggs, milk, ham, and cheese. This looks good, I say. We have eggs, milk, ham, and cheese. Practice that page in your head. Follow along with my finger. And then read that out loud like a teacher one more time. Okay, next page. I mix eggs and milk. Dad cuts ham and cheese into bits. Then I mix ham and cheese in with the eggs. Dad will heat the eggs, ham, and cheese in a pan. Practice that page in your head. Follow along with my finger. And then read that out loud like a teacher one more time. Okay, next page. Just then I see Mom. That smells so good. What is it? She asks. Can I look? Just sit and we will bring it to you, I say. Then you can look too. Practice that page in your head. Follow along with my finger. Okay, and then read that out loud like a teacher one more time. Okay, last page. Mom laughs and sits. This is a real treat. You and Dad did a good deed, said Mom. Practice that page in your head for me. Okay, read it with my finger. And then read that out loud like a teacher one more time. Okay. All right, next up, you guys are going to need to get yourself a piece of scratch paper and a pencil because we are going to work on our spelling. So make sure you get yourself a piece of paper. Pause if you need more time. Okay, my yellow arrow says I can use sight words and spelling patterns to help me spell words correctly. Okay, and we are going to use this sound in some of our words, okay, and then some of our words are going to have those two syllables. So I want you to really think about what two parts are in the words, okay? So the first word you are going to spell is the word hood. I have a hood on my sweatshirt. Hood. Think about your beginning sound. This is your middle sound. and then your ending sound. Hood is your word. Okay, second word, brook. A brook is a little stream that goes through the forest. Okay, a brook. Beginning sound, middle sound, ending sound. Brook is your word. My word was brook. Okay, and for the next two, you aren't going to need this sound because we're going to use different sounds in it, okay? But they're each going to have 2 syllables. So the first word is insects. Think about your first part and then your second part. So in and then sex, insects, okay? And then your second or your last word is problem, okay? Problem. I have a problem for you. My first syllable is prob, and then lem, problem, okay? So my first word with 2 syllables was insects, okay? A butterfly is is one type of insect, okay? But insects. So in, sex, and then your second word is problem, problem. Okay, once you finish spelling those words, we are going to move on to our last arrow, which is I can understand the first grade text I have read. Okay, and your main story for this week is Whistle for Willie. I'm going to read it to you on here, but I do need you to go back into Think Central and find your Whistle for Willie story and read it out loud to yourself today, or read it out loud or to someone else, but make sure you practice reading the story at least once, okay? So Whistle for Willie. Oh, how Peter wished he could whistle. He saw a boy playing with his dog. Whenever the boy whistled, the dog ran straight to him. Peter tried and tried to whistle, but he couldn't. So instead, he began to turn himself around and around and around he whirled, faster and faster, and when he stopped, everything turned down and up and up and down and around and around. So Peter has a problem right now in that story. What is his problem in this story? Peter saw his dog Willie coming. Quick as a wink, he hid in an empty carton lying on the sidewalk. Wouldn't it be funny if I whistled? Peter thought. Willie could stop and look all around to see who it was. Peter tried again to whistle, but still he couldn't. So Willie just walked on. And why does Willie want to whistle so badly? What is his reason for wanting to whistle? So his problem at the beginning of the story is that he can't whistle, and he still can't whistle. And why? Why does he want to whistle so badly? Peter got out of the carton and started home. On the way, he took some colored chalks out of his pocket and drew a long, long line right up to his door. He stood there and tried to whistle again. He blew till his cheeks were tired, but nothing happened. He went into his house and put on his father's old hat to make himself feel more grown up. He looked into the mirror to practice whistling, but still no whistle. When his mother saw what he was doing, Peter pretended that he was his father. He said, "I've come home early today, dear. Is Peter here?" His mother answered, "Why, no, he's outside with Willie." "Well, I'll go out and look for them," said Peter. First, he walked along a crack in the sidewalk. Then he tried to run away from his shadow. He jumped off his shadow, but when he landed, they were together again. He came to the corner where the carton was, and who should he see but Willie? Peter scrambled under the carton. He blew, and suddenly out came a real whistle. Willie stopped and looked around to see who it was. So he solved his problem. He learned to, and then what happened when he whistled? "It's me," Peter shouted and stood up. Willie raced straight to him. Peter ran home to show his father and mother what he could do. They loved Peter's whistling. So did Willie. Peter's mother asked him and Willie to go on an errand to the grocery store. He whistled all the way there and he whistled all the way home. Okay, you guys are going to need to grab yourself a piece of scratch paper because we're going to work on our comprehension skill for this week. And our comprehension skill for this week is cause and effect. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Okay, so we're going to talk about cause and effect. So I want you to grab a piece of scratch paper and make your paper look something like mine. And I am going to give you 2 examples from our story that fit into our cause and the effect. And then I want you guys to go and find 2 different examples from our story. Okay, so for our cause, we are going to pick something that our main character did in our story. So our main character in the story was Willie. And Willie did a bunch of different things in this story. So we're going to choose, I'm going to write 2 things as an example, but then you are going to find 2 different things in the story that Willie did. And the effect that happened because Willie did those 2 things. Okay, so a cause is something that Willie did, and the effect is what happened. What happened because Willie did that thing that you wrote over here. Okay, so if I go back into my story, Whistle for Willie, and I come back to this page, okay, and I reread it, Peter tried to whistle, but he couldn't. Instead, he began to turn himself around and around. He whirled faster and faster, and when he stopped, everything turned down and up and up and down. So something that Peter did on that page was that he was trying to whistle. And when he was trying to whistle, he turned around and around and around. Okay, so he was kind of spinning. So I'm going to write that for the cause, and then we're going to talk about the effect that that had happened. Okay, so my cause from that story was that Peter tried whistling, so he whirled. Now I want you to think about the effect, okay? So because Peter was trying to whistle and he whirled around and around and around, what happened? Okay, so go back to your story and think about what happened for a sec on that page. So the effect was that Peter got dizzy. So when he was whirling and whirling and whirling, it said that when he stopped, things were going up and down and all around. So because he was spinning, he got dizzy. So Peter tried to whistle, he whirled was the cause, it was what happened. And the effect was that Peter got dizzy because he was whirling. Okay, I'm going to go back into my story and I'm going to pick one more cause. And I'm going to talk about the effect again. And then you guys are going to do this on your own. You're going to pick 2 different causes and 2 different effects. Okay, so I came to this part in our story. He went into his house and put on his father's old hat to make himself feel more grown up. He looked into the mirror to practice whistling, but still no whistle. When his mother saw what he was doing, Peter pretended that he was his father. He said, "I've come home early today. Dear, is Peter here?" His mother answered, "Why, no, he's not. He's outside with Willie." "Well, I'll go out and look for them," said Peter. So my next cause was that Peter dressed like his father. Okay, so because he dressed like his father, then what was the effect? What happened because Peter dressed like his father? So think about that for a moment. Okay. So, and because Peter dressed like his father, Peter's mom thought that Peter was his father. So he kind of like tricked his mom. So she kind of went along and pretended with him that Peter was his dad. So that was the result or the effect of him dressing like his father. Okay, there's a bunch of other things that Peter did in this story. So on your piece of paper, think of another cause and what was the effect of that? What's another cause that Peter did? And what was the effect of that? Okay, when you're done, snap a picture of your causes and your effects and send it to Miss Coggins or I, because we'd love to see what you wrote. Okay, and then that is the end of your day 2 video. So remember your assignments for today. You need to go into Think Central, or unless you read it with me, and read your story, 2 Good Cooks. Okay, then you need to find your story, Whistle for Willie, in Think Central, and I will provide directions in your daily checklist on how to find these stories, because I know finding things in there is a little tricky sometimes. Okay, so read your decodable, then find your Whistle for Willie story in Think Central and read that. And then after you've read Whistle for Willie, I need you guys to do your cause and effect. So find 2 causes from the story, 2 things that Peter did, and 2 effects from his story, okay? And you will also have 2 little practice worksheets that you can also do today that you will find on your unified classroom. Okay, so bye guys and hope you have a good day.